Radiating from the heart of America and stretching from coast to coast and border to border, welcome to On Radio, the wireless industry's weekly download coming straight from the builders and newsmakers of everything wireless. Your host is Jim Tracy, and this is On Radio.
All right, welcome back again this week, folks. We are back with Whit and Ben, and we're going to talk about the actual nuts and bolts of the project called Flying Steel, and it is epically cool. It is going to be it's going to be a story through the eyes and the lens of the observation, the guys who actually do the work and lead the team that does this. So, last week, Ben, we were talking about coming into this valley, and you got limited daylight because you're down on the bottom, and now you're going to build. What is it that you're building?
So what we were building there was we were doing a tower extension. So we had a existing tower that we were adding another 20 feet to the top of it.
Okay.
And that was at the upper tower, and then at the lower tower, so the second tower on the mine, we were doing a structural upgrade on the base plates.
Okay. So why would you make a tower taller?
Well, from the valley of the mine, making the tower taller from the valley of the mine, you can't see the top of it, and that top of the tower needed to get an extension put on so that they can have communications to go from that point on the tower to a new location. They wanted more of a direct shot into the valley.
All right, so let's paint a picture for the people. So you've got this valley, and at the bottom of the valley, they got a tower that catches a signal, right?
Correct.
And then it catches it from the pitcher. And where's the pitcher at?
Way up there, like
way
45.
Up on top of the mountain. So he's like a mile above you, right? Dang near.
4,500 feet, I think, is what
40. Oh yeah,
the distance.
So,
yep.
So I mean, like 0.8 of a mile or something. It's kind of
it's a long way.
It's straight up, isn't it? It's like not like a sheer wall, but it's the angle
Close.
of the angle of the angle of the mountain is pretty steep.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you arrive at the bottom. You got this tower that you're going to reinforce the structure, the base of the tower, down in the valley, so that it can withstand all the rigors of being there. I mean, this is a tough place just to exist, much less to work. And then you got to climb. You got to climb 4,500 feet, carrying a tower on your back. You're clawing your way up this mountain. Oh, wait, that's a story. Okay, that would be a cool story, but that's not what happened, is it?
No.
Okay.
We got
So this other tower that's on top, you got to make this one taller, and that's because it's a microwave, and you might have had some trees grow between, or you might have had this happen or that happen, or they want a new shot into a different place, and there's lots of reasons to make a tower taller, but you got to make it taller, and it's like up there.
Yep.
There's
not a road to that site. There's no road,
sorry?
so there's no road.
There's
at
no
all.
road. How'd you get your truck up there?
We didn't.
Okay.
All
right. So the folks here on radio are gonna go, okay, so you built a tower to a place where there's no road. How did you do that?
Because we're special.
So here's the essence of the movie Flying Steel, and it sounds like this: whoop, 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 and you can hear the rotor spinning on some kind of a vehicle, an real true all-terrain vehicle. And you're using a chopper then to take all your parts of the mountain.
Yeah, everything we needed to do that tower section ad, we hooked up to a long line on a helicopter, a Huey at that, and he flew us up there.
All right. So what's the first thing that goes up?
The people.
Us.
You. I mean, you guys. So you got so let me understand this. Now you got the cool job of climbing towers. You got the cool job of training people, leading men, doing all the things. And then you come up to this place where you get to stay in somebody's awesome rustic cabin and drink pine cone coffee because the coffee maker is not elite. And then you get to drive up really cool roads, although I'm disappointed you didn't see any critters. But you get up there and then you get to take a chopper up to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is
It's
there a
pretty
better
awesome.
day than this?
We were all pretty amped up.
Yeah.
We were down. We worked over the weekend down there, and the whole weekend, doing the tower reinforcement, drilling holes in concrete. We were like, all right, this is kind of cool. And then pretty soon the helicopter come in a couple days before we were working because they needed the helicopter, and we just got to watch them fly their loads back and forth. We're like, man, we get to do that. Like we
Yeah.
get to be there.
Yeah. So, tell me, you get the reinforcement done on the bottom. That's the boring stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
then the day is coming where you're going to have to get all this stuff, your people and your stuff, transported to the top of a mountain. And then, how do you plan? What is logistically? What does it look like? How do you think about? I mean, I'm going to ask a really stupid, obvious question, but how do you not forget stuff?
Yeah. So not forgetting stuff's probably the most important part, especially when in the end result that helicopter is holding our load, the tower section above our
Uh
head,
huh. Yeah.
bolted onto the tower. I mean,
And you
it's
don't
just
want to
on
forget
plan.
the nuts on the bolts or the washers that hold that together, do you?
No.
Nope.
So how do you plan that out in advance? I mean, do you like build the tower on paper and then figure out all the stuff you're absolutely gonna need, and then all the stuff you might need, and then all the stuff that you could forget? And I mean, how's that work out?
Yeah, no, we took the drawings from the tower maker or the steel provider, and then built the whole tower assembly on the ground, had it staged, ready to go. All the bolts were placed strategically with our gear to go up to the
Mm-hmm.
tower, and we double checked everything, had it all ready to go on the ground, got it rigged, and once we flew to the site, we were there and dropped our gear and our stuff, which was the bolts and everything included that needed to be involved. And then they brought that tower section in once we were climbing that tower.
Yeah. So you got to remember every tool. I mean, you can't forget connector wrench. I mean, you forget spud wrench. I mean, you obviously going to need a spud wrench. You can't forget that. Then,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what's going to line up the holes in the tower. Let that thing come in and sit down. You got to be able to ground that helicopter. So you got to have a little strap that you tap the tower section coming in with. You got to have the washers, the bolts, the all the parts for the microwave, because it is a send and receive site. I mean, there's a lot of little things, and there is very little allowance to have
Yeah. It
that
took.
dude come with you.
Yeah. Yeah, it took essentially we had four tower hands essentially. It was
Mm-hmm.
Ben and I and then two other guys. And it took all four of us being 100% on the same page starting the day before when we prepped everything, staged everything, and we went back through it the following day, the actual helicopter day at like 6 in the morning, went back through it, staged it all again, made sure everything was there, and then it was just a execution.
All right. So day one, you got to go up and you got to figure out the first helicopter day. So is this your first time in a chopper?
Yeah.
Oh wow. So that's cool. So you
Yeah.
got special gear, you got things to protect your eyes and your ears and your noggin, and so you've so now you got a chopper comes in. Tell me about the safety brief that you do prior to taking your first ride.
Go ahead. Uh, Safety brief. We just talked with the pilot. He let us know all the possibilities of what could happen, need, what we need to do, what we shouldn't do, and how to communicate with him under the load at that point.
Yeah.
So a lot of head movements on my part since I was the communicator to the pilot. Um,
You
we
on
normally
radio
would
with
use,
him? Are you on radio with him?
normally we would use radios, but in the event that you can't hear to the prop wash coming down over top of us, he gave us head signals to use, which uh, yes to heaven, which meant bring it load up, and then no to hell, which meant bring the load down.
So with the rotor wash, there's only up and down, right?
Yep.
Yeah, because side to side is going to take care of himself, and he's got to do that from above because you're not moving that tower up. So now, walk me through kind of the feelings of it. You're sitting there and you're getting ready. You've done your safety briefing, and he said, "Hey, here's how to talk to us. Here's how to communicate. Here's what we do when we lose comms. Here's what we're going to do when we're touching the tower, or we're doing this, or we're doing that." But now you're getting ready to board. What's going through your mind when you are getting ready to jump on a chopper for the first time? You start thinking about, I wonder if this guy can actually fly.
Yeah. We heard he was good. We heard he was good.
Okay.
And I know when we were, getting geared up to go in the helicopter after his safety brief, and then we had ours. We were getting geared up and we were getting in the helicopter, and he was firing that thing up. And by the way, a helicopter is way louder than you would think it would be on the inside. Those jet engines are loud.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, holy cow, we're fixing to do this. For real. And pretty soon we were going up, and I tell you what, the ride to site, I was expecting it to be quite a bit smoother than it actually was. There was a lot of turbulence kind of stuff going up.
There's a lot of air moving up there in those hills, aren't there?
Yeah.
And what was the temp this day? So you're in July or
August?
I
think it was mid 50s when we left, and it was cloudy that day.
And this is this is in the 20th of July or something?
Yeah.
So
15th, I think.
Most of our places that we work, it's going to be 100 plus degrees that day. And you are starting at 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, we were in sweatshirts, coats, the whole bit.
All right. High vis stuff, because now you got to be seen by a pilot who's moving around in turbulence. So what about you, Ben? I mean, are you nervous at this point? Are you thinking I should have paid my life insurance. This is a terrible decision. My wife isn't going to be able to kill me because I'm going to be dead anyway. What are you thinking?
During that time, I was just thinking, this is awesome.
This is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth it at that point,
Great.
It goes down, I was going to go down smiling.
Yeah, we're past the point of no return now.
Yep. Yeah, we're attached to this thing. It's got to make it. I can't do anything about it.
Right. All right. So, and then you're taking a ride up, and how do you get off a helicopter? This is like at the top of a mountain. There's not much place to land, is there?
No, he pretty much, the runners are on both ends of the runners. When he landed us on that knife ridge, both ends of the runners, I think he had like a foot hanging off either side of essentially the ridge is like this. Yeah. And he landed like that, and we all bailed out and sat on the ground. He picked up and he tore off that mountain so fast. He just disappeared.
Yeah. He really doesn't land. He just drops one skid down, doesn't he?
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
He pretty much hovered right on the ground.
So then he dumps you off. You've got some tools with you.
At this point, we didn't.
Yeah.
So he's going to go back down, get another load, and what's in that?
The load so after he dropped us off, the load that he brought up was essentially a hanging basket that was full of our gear, our tools, everything that we would need to complete that project. And then we would get ready in the meantime after he dropped that off, and then go pick up the tower section.
So he does a long line, and he drops this basket next to you, and then he remotely pops that loose and gives it to you. How long is the long line?
We didn't get an actual length on how long it was, but it looked like it was 60 to 100 feet. It's a long ways.
There's a lot of room, but it's a static line. It doesn't stretch at all, does it?
No,
Yeah. Okay. So then he goes back down. You're taking your tools and getting everything ready, and you're prepping to do a tower stack. You got your fall gear up there. You got, I mean, all your wrenches, all your equipment, all your parts, and now you got to climb this tower. Somebody's rigged it downstairs, and so he hooks up to that, and now he's going to fly. How tall is this tower section?
The new section is 20
Yeah.
feet.
Okay, so it's not a big bet, it's a 20-footer. And it's a 20
Yep.
foot tower that's bolted together, and he's gonna bring it in, and he's gonna bring it over the top of the tower, but it's also over the top of you.
Yep.
So now you're looking up and you're thinking, it's about maybe 4,000 pounds of tower that's coming down on me, and this guy's got one trigger finger. I hope it's not itchy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Ben, you got to tell him when enough is enough and when to let go, right?
Yep.
Okay, so you're looking up Ben, and he's bringing that tower in. What are you feeling at that point?
That point, it was a very strange feeling because everything went silent besides what I could hear Andrew talking or Marco was on the other leg.
All
It
right.
was just the three of us communicating, and that was it that I could hear. It was the
Yeah.
strangest feeling.
Yeah. Because all of a sudden, everything, all your senses are heightened, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he's dropping the tower. Did it come down smooth?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, wait, you're on top of the tower, aren't you?
Yeah.
What are you
Yep.
feeling at this point?
Kind of the same thing as him. I mean, I was fully aware of essentially the whole world right up until the tower section was all the way over the top of us and it was within reach. And then
Hmm.
everything kind of went tunnel vision and focus. And it was
There
like,
you go.
okay, time to go to work. And all I could hear was Ben and Marco. We were all communicating. I could see Ben going like this, the helicopter, nodding up and down
Yeah.
and shaking his head. And then pretty soon, spud wrench like that. And all three of us had a bolt in. And then I see Ben over there going like this, telling the helicopter to cut it loose.
We
He
all
let go.
done. We all done.
Yep.
All
Yep.
right. So, by then, I mean, you got to get it tightened down. You got to get your dish aligned, reset. Or the dish on already or not?
Yeah, we ended up not moving the dish. That was
Oh, okay.
possible that we were going to do that. And they ended up not having us do that day or at
Okay.
all.
All right. So you get everything all polished up. You take your last ride down the mountain. Your tools are gone, and now you're taking your last ride down the mountain. And you've already tested the gear.
Hmm.
You know the work. You know the link is working, right?
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
we
And
had we had their IT guy up there with us, and he watched, or after we were done, he checked everything, made sure everything was good, and then
all
yeah, they
right,
grabbed our tools and gear, and then come up and grab us.
sweet deal. And when you're doing your last ride down the mountain, there had to have been an incredible feeling of pride because you took, um, well, I mean, really four pretty seasoned guys up and in a very short course of time you created a communication link, and people think that, hey, we just, it's for cell phone or for mine data, but it's really more than that. If they get into trouble at the mine, if
Hmm.
they need to call for help, I mean, that's the only way they can call.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I think it took.
public
I think the
safety.
whole yeah
Go ahead.
the whole job from landing pad to landing pad, for us leaving to us coming back. I think it was an hour and a half. That's how long
Wow.
all of it took,
So that's
and that
where
was a long hour and a half.
preparation is really the key. I mean,
Hmm.
it's a lot of prep work to get ready for that because you don't have the opportunity. I mean, there's not a lot of wiggle room for a screw up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, guys, we salute you. You guys have an epic job, and then you had this epic job. But I just want to say thank you for being the guys that not only we can count on, but our industry looks at guys like you and the job you do, and you make us incredibly proud. And you provide communication for people that otherwise would have zero, because there's no other way to get comms into that mountain, into that. There's an enterprise that's running because you did your job. So thanks. We salute you. Any encouragement that you have for us before we sign off here?
Just keep working. We'll see you guys on the next one.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, everybody, and thanks, Whit, and thanks, Ben, for coming on radio. And hey, let's all remember and never forget, just like these guys, let's choose safety today. This is Jim, and I am out.
Thanks for tuning in today, and join us every week. Tell your people to listen in and subscribe to On Radio, the voice of everything wireless.